Okay, I've done a trial fit on the headers, and they fit really nice in here. I'm really pleased with the Hooker headers, and these are the Hooker competition headers, not the Super Comp headers. The Hooker competition headers, which I have here, now they're calling them the Classic series, but they are Hooker competition headers. They're 1 5/8 primary, when the Super Comp headers would be the 1 3/4, which I really do like the 1 3/4, but I knew that the 1 5/8 would just fit much better in the engine compartment. And right now, with the weather getting colder, I don't want to be sitting out here trying to modify headers like crazy to try to get them to fit. Now what I'll end up doing is getting these headers out of here. What I need to do is, you can see the chain here on the front of the engine. I have two chains. I hook that up to my engine hoist, and I have the motor mounts down here are there yet, but the bolt's been removed. So it's just sitting on the pad right now. The motor mount's just resting on the chassis pad. And what I've done then is remove the 2 bolts from the transmission mount. So even though everything's still sitting there, transmission's on the cross member, these are on the pads, I can lift the motor up and do it on an angle. And then I have to try to get the headers in from underneath the car. So what I'm going to do now, right now the car is still on the ground, I'm going to lift the entire car in the air. I'm going to put ramps under the front tires, jack stands under the back, part of the frame, get the car up high enough that hopefully I can sit my headers up straight and slide them up underneath the engine with the engine lifted out. That would be the plan. We'll see if it all comes together. It always pays to have cheap labor around when you're trying to do a job like this also. So here you can see the cherry picker. Oh, that's okay. You can see my cherry picker here, or engine hoist, whichever you prefer. So what we'll do is slide the engine hoist over top of the engine bay here so that I can attach the hook to the chains to lift the engine up. I just need to lift the engine up in the front, like I said before, so I have an angle just to pull the header out. I only have one header hanging up right now, and the other one came out freely with just a little bit of finagling, as we say in the Dutch world. Keep going. You're doing good. 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 Keep it going. Perfect. Perfect. Is that perfect?
Not yet. It's still broken.
Okay, keep going. All right, that's great. Thank you.
We need to go all the way to 10. Because there's number 10 and there's a number on it.
Are we at number 10 yet?
No. So you
Okay,
count.
2 more times. 2 more times. Ready? 1 and 2. One more, all the way down. Perfect. Say thank you.
Thank you.
This is how the setup will look for me to try to remove these headers and reinstall them. Initially, I did say I was going to jack up the back side of the car, but I think I'll have enough clearance here with these headers to just have the front jacked up. Also, it's a little bit safer because jacking underneath the rear, my jack doesn't slide too well across this blacktop, so it's safer for me just to have the front in the air rather than chance having that jack slip out from underneath the rear. Always safety first when you're using a jack on any type of surface like this. The jack really needs to have the ability to move. In my case, it isn't moving too well. So instead of jacking the Chevelle up underneath the front cross member, or what some people would call like a skid plate, I jacked it up underneath each lower control arm in the front. So that gave me a better surface without worrying about the jack sliding off my jacking point. And then that allowed me to put my ramps underneath each tire. So this is how it looks. As always, safety first. You want to be around to enjoy the hobby, not kill yourself trying to work on your car. So next I'll be pulling the headers off, and I will share with you how to prep them. Now we're sanding the headers. It's kind of hard to see here because of my light, but this tube here is just about completely bare with the paint removed. I'm sanding these by hand, like always. I recommend wearing gloves or something, maybe a full body condom, whatever makes you feel safe around any type of products like paint or chemicals. But I'm going to sand these down. You try to get as much of this black anti-corrosion coating off of these as possible, because it's not a high temp coating. And what would happen would be, as soon as you'd start up the car, this will bubble and burn off. Unfortunately, any paint you have on top of it will burn off with it. It won't adhere. So that's why you need to get as much of this off as possible so that you can do your primer and paint. That's what I'm going to do. I have a high temp primer and a high temp white paint. So I'll be at this for a few hours, I'm sure. And I will share with you how the finished product looks. So here you have the bare metal headers. I had to use a combination of paint stripper, sanding, and wire brushing to get them to this point. The only part that I am a little concerned with, not really that concerned with, it's a driver, but where the primary pipes merge together in the collector, that area, it's very hard to get that anti-rust paint that Hooker applied. You can't get it out of there. I really should have had these glass beaded. I don't have a blast cabinet right now. I do have family members and friends that have them, but unfortunately they're not large enough to fit these headers into it. So if I could do it all over again, I would do the glass beading on these, but I just don't have time to do that right now. So it is what it is. This is how it's going to be. I'm going to primer them and then paint them. The next thing you'll see will be the final product. Getting really close here. This is how they look in primer. I just put the VHT flame-proof primer on the headers. A lot of guys I talk to say that they don't lift enough engines out of cars to own a cherry picker or engine hoist. But boy, I find so many different uses for them. It's a very valuable tool to have and very cheap. This is a dirt cheap one I got at Harbor Freight. So if you find one on sale, buy it. You'll use it at some point. Next will be applying the paint. Here you have it, folks, the finished product before I put them on the car. My Hooker competition headers, painted in VHT matte white. Right behind the new headers, you can see my old Blackjack header. You can see the comparison. Boy, that looked pretty grungy. But these, for the time being, look pretty darn nice. It wasn't that bad of a job. The worst part was just removing all of that anti-corrosion coating that Hooker puts on it. That was quite a daunting task. But notice that I really do like white, and that's because, like I mentioned before, I am a gasser, nostalgia super stocker, and especially junior stocker freak. I'm just real passionate about that type of nostalgia racing, and I want the Chevelle to be very representative and respectful to that time period. Guys were not necessarily going out there and getting any crazy coatings put on headers back at that time. They were painting them in their garage just as the way I am, working on their car in the driveway the same way. And with Project Boulevard, I want to show the young people out there that you can build these cars in your driveway. You don't need some crazy high-end shop doing the work. You don't need to go out there and buy some crazy Barrett-Jackson priced car. You can get an old car inexpensively and do modifications all by yourself that have a huge impact on performance and also the look, with this being white. It depends on what look you're going for, of course, but with me going for the nostalgia look, this white suits the car perfectly. So that brings a close to this header cleanup and header repaint, and next I'll be installing them on the car. So stay tuned for that video, and I'll have probably 1 or 2 more videos coming up, and then it'll be a wrap with Project Barn to Boulevard, and then I'll start talking about the next chapter in the Chevelle's book, which I'm pretty darn excited about. But these new white headers will play a huge role in that. So that's a little teaser for for what's around the corner here with Project Barnard Boulevard. But prior to that, we will take the car on a road trip, hopefully with a GoPro camera in the car. That's the goal, because I missed my opportunity this year to run it at the drag strip. So we'll all take a cruise together to hopefully a nostalgia show, maybe the Bruce Larson event, which is coming up in a month here. A lot of nostalgia cars there that are cool. So maybe we'll take a drive in the Chevelle to that little show, and that'll be a wrap for Project Barnard Boulevard. Thanks for watching, and wish me luck getting these back on the car without scratching them. See you soon. Bye.